Hello, hi, this is Aditya and welcome to Sankham MarTech channel. In my previous video, I have introduced you to sling models. Before we go deep and understand what is sling models, we first need to understand AEM HTL language. It is a HTML templating language. So in this video, we are going to take few exercises and we are going to understand the syntax of the HTML language. Okay, so this video is part of the AEM Tutorials Beginners playlist. The link for which I'll give it out in the description box. If you are interested, please check out that link. Let's get started with the presentation. So this MVC pattern we have discussed already in our previous video. Okay, so this is what we are talking about currently, which is the view, and it is AEM HTL language. So the first question is like, why do we need this templating language? Okay, so if you see the HTML here you have the unordered list and you have the list of items here. But in general, what happens is these list of items, either they are coming from the database or author is authoring them in the dialog box. And this HTML language is always static. Okay, so if you have to go to the database and pull dynamically this list of items, then HTML itself cannot do it. So what we need is some language which can read the database and which can get the list of the items and which can loop through basically and create these items dynamically. So that is what we do using this HTML templating language. But we could do this using our JSP or even servlet, right? So why do we need this templating language? So by using this HTML, what we are trying to do is we are trying to mix up this HTML markup, and we are trying to give the additional capability to the HTML which it does not have, like for example looping and using the variables. All this capability HTML does not have it, but somehow we want to give that capability to the HTML. And the purpose of making it look like a HTML is because of this achieving this model view controller architecture, wherein the view is completely different than model. The aim is to make the code more front-end friendly so that the front-end developer can work on this also instead of depending upon the back-end developer or any Java developer. Even front-end developer should be able to work on this code. So that is the aim here by having this templating language. Okay, so having said that, the next question is like what all we can do using this HTL language. We need to understand one thing here. Any language we learn, right, the basics are same. Any language contains the if condition, for loops, all these functions and all these basics are same in all languages. What varies is only the syntax. Okay, so what we need to understand whenever we are learning any new language, right, if we have to learn quickly, then the first thing we need to understand is like what all we can do using that particular language. Okay, and then we will have to do a quick overview of the syntax, because syntax you will have the code already available somewhere. You can always copy paste. What you need to understand is like what exactly that syntax does, or if you want to achieve some certain functionality, you need to know like which concept you need to apply basically. So for that you need to know what all applications are there with that particular language. Okay, so what all tasks you can do with a particular language. So that is what you wanted to know first. Okay, so in that way, if we see, these are the tasks which we can do using the HTL. Okay, you can set the variables, you can use the if conditions, and you can do the operations like end operator, or operator. These operators you can use, and you can use loops, you can use functions, and you can include one file in another file. And there is a particular concept called display context, okay, which is applicable to this particular templating language. So we are going to discuss what is this display context, and we also have some concept called as global objects. Okay, so these are the high level concepts which are there as part of HTL language. Okay, if we know this, then I think we know HTL, and we will be able to apply these concepts whenever the need arises. Okay, so what we are going to discuss in this particular video is the ones which I highlighted in the green color. Okay, so the rest other ones we'll discuss in the later video. So I'll show these 4 concepts to you now using certain exercises. Okay, so this is the sample code which I have created to show you all those 4 functionalities, And now what I have done in this AEM is I have created a new component called training, and I have just used this training.html, and I have just given this HTL practice. Okay, so if I just refresh the screen, so I am seeing this H1 whatever I have given here. Okay, the HTL practice. Okay, so now what I will do is I will copy paste this first code. Okay, so what is this code? Okay, using data slice set, we can set a particular variable. So as we have seen here, one of the tasks which we can do is variable setting, right? So how exactly can you set the variables? Okay, using the data slice set. Okay, so this is the syntax. Okay, when you say data slice set dot x, now this x is a variable. Okay, and you are setting it to a particular number. Okay, so this is how you set it to a number. Okay, you give the dollar symbol, and in the parenthesis you give the number. Okay, so this is one of the data type which is number. Okay, so if I just copy paste this one, so here I'll just paste this, and now if I refresh this, I did not observe any change here. That is because if you just see here, I have set this variable x, but I haven't used it. Okay, so if I have to use it, then I'll just say here, okay, inside this p, the way I need to use that variable is I'll put ampersand again, and in the parenthesis I'll say x. Okay, so then this is the way I will render that particular variable. Okay, so to render any variable I need to use this dollar and parenthesis symbol. So that is the syntax. Now if I refresh the page, so now I am able to see this 1, which is the variable number I assigned, right? One number what I have assigned for the value of x to, it is 1. So the same thing is being printed. So if I just say change this value to 2, let us suppose, now the 2 should get printed. Okay, let's test that. Okay, now the 2 got printed. Okay, so now this is the way you set these variables. Okay, so ideally these variables are coming from the backend system, but just for testing purpose I have set it to this hard-coded value, and I am showing it to you just so that you will understand this particular syntax. Okay, so mainly first we'll focus on understanding the syntax, then we can do the complex things which are possible with that. So instead of number, if I have to use a particular string or set a particular string, then how do I do it? If I just type some string here, so then what it considers is, it considers this variable is coming from the backend system. Okay, so it will not consider this as a string. It will consider that this is a variable which is coming from the backend system. Okay, so to make sure that it considered as a string, what you need to do is you have to put some single quotes around it so that it considers it as a string. So what we are saying here is, this is the x variable and this is the hard-coded string variable. So just add this, assign this hard-coded string variable to this particular x value. Okay, so that's what we are saying here, and here we are rendering that particular x. Let's test this. So if you see here, the variable value is printed. So this is the hard-coded string. Now let's change this value to my name, and let's go and refresh this page. Okay, now you see the new value which is Aditya. Okay, so this is how you set a string instead of an integer. Okay, so now we have seen the assignment of this x to the value of an integer and a string, but this value x can be assigned also an array like this. It can be assigned to an array also like this. Okay, and it can be used also like this, like we can print the value of x also like this. Okay, so now let's see what will it print. Okay, if I just refresh this page, so this is how it will print the array. Okay, so this is also one of the possibility. So till now we have seen the variable assignments. Okay, so let's see what is the next part. Okay, we will see what is this if condition, how to apply this if condition. Okay, so the syntax to apply this if condition is, instead of this data slice set, we need to say data slice test. Whenever we say data slice test, then it will apply a particular test. Okay, and let us suppose we say we assign this test to a boolean value of true. Okay, and here I'll print test passed. So I am in the paragraph, I just printed test passed. Okay, and here I am doing a test. Okay, and I have hard coded this to a boolean value, and this is how we can assign a boolean value. Okay, just we assign a string integer array, like that we can assign a variable to a boolean value too, and this is the way we do it. Okay, so it will always be true now. So now if I save this and if I just refresh the page, okay, the test passed, this string appeared here. So in the same way, if I assign this value to false and save it, and if I refresh it, now this string should not appear, and that's what has happened. So this is the way you use the if conditions in the HTL syntax. Okay, you test whether a particular condition is true or false. Okay, so now let's see what is the third thing, which is operators. Okay, so operators are nothing but end operator. Okay, so this is the end operator, right? So if I say false and false, okay, false and false is false, right? So if I just refresh this page, I still don't see that text. Okay, now let me try false or false. False or false is also false, so still I wouldn't get anything. Okay, now if I say false or true, then let's see what happens. See, now this condition appeared, this text appeared, because false or true is true. Okay, anything is true, then the entire condition will become true if there is an or condition, right? So this is how we can use the conditions. Okay, so now let's say I want to use the conditions in a different way. Okay, I want to say, let's say I want to use an equality operator, greater than equal to operator. Then how will I do those? Okay, so let me remove these and I'll just add the code from the beginning. I'll say P, and here I'll say data slide test dot x equal to, and I will assign this to a value which is 1. Okay, and I'll just close this P operator here, and in a span I will test okay, I'm just enlarging this so that you can see, and in the span I will say I'll add the data slide test here. So here it should be set actually, not the test. Okay, here I am setting the value to 1. Okay, and now here I want to test it. Okay, here I'll say test equal to, and then I want to test the value. Okay, I want to test the value of what? Okay, I want to test the value of x, right? This is the value I want to test. Okay, and I'm using the equality operator, and I'm saying equal to 1. Okay, if it is equal to 1, if x is equal to 1, then I'll say value of x is 1. This is what I'll print. Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm just setting this value 1 to x, and then in the below line I'm just checking whether this value is equal to 1 or not. It will be obviously equal to 1. Okay, I'll just implemented this to show you the equality operator. Okay, so if it is equal to, then I'm printing this value, right? So now let's see what it does. Okay, it has printed the value of x now. Okay, now let's say I have put it to 2 instead of 1. And here I am checking if x equal to 1, right? So now let's see what happens. Okay, now it hasn't printed it. Okay, now let's say I will say this x is greater than 1. Okay, check if x is greater than 1. Then if it is greater than 1, print the value of x is greater than 1. Okay, if I change this and if I just refresh this, it is getting printed. So why I've showed all this to you is, just as you use operators in any of your if conditions in any other programming language, in the same way you can use these operators also in Slightly. Now let's see what is the next one. Okay, the next one is loops. Okay, so now let's try to understand how the loops are working. Okay, so let us suppose I have the unordered list to be printed. Okay, I'll say this unordered list, and then inside this I have li, right? So this is the high level structure of the unordered list, right? So now I want to loop through an array of unordered list and I would like to print it. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to use a for condition. Okay, the way I need to do the looping is I need to say data sly list. Okay, so this is just like any of our for each kind of condition. Okay, and I just set it to an array. Okay, so now what this does is, so here I can just give dot x. Okay, so now what it does is it will loop through, and whatever is there inside this UL, right, inside this UL, whatever is there, it will repeat that until this variables are completed. Until all this list is completed, it will loop through each and every element until this all the array is completed, and it will repeat whatever is there in between these two. Okay, so now now we can just print this value, right? Print this value of x here. Okay, so now let's see what exactly it does. I'll just refresh this page and show it to you, and then let's discuss what is happening. So it printed the list of items here, right? 1 2 3 4. So whatever is there as part of this array, it printed as a list of items. Okay, so now if you just go into this and if you inspect it, right, if you inspect this, okay, it comes like this as a list of items, right? When you see the code, it's not like list of items, but when you inspect the page, it is just like a list of items. So this is what I say, that this ultimately will get executed as a servlet. Okay, and what you see here is the static code, not the dynamic code. Okay, so now how is this working? So what it does is it will just see what is the first element of the array. Okay, 1, right? So then it will take that 1 and it will assign first to this value of x. It will say x equal to 1, and then it will loop through, it will enter the loop and it will print whatever is there here. Okay, so what is the value of x then? 1. So it will print that. Then it will go to the second value and it will assign this value to x, and it will say x equal to 2, and then it will then print that value. Then it will go to the next element, it will assign that value to x, print. Then it will go to next element, assign that value to x and print. So this is how it is looping through. So the value of the x changes and it goes through this list until the entire list is completed. Okay, so this is how it works. Now let us say I have a anchor tag. Apart from this li tag also, I have a, let us suppose, some anchor tag, and I'll say this href equal to some hash here. Okay, so now what do you think happens? I will say here it is link. Let's see what happens. I'll just go back to this page. Okay, and I'll just refresh this page. Now see what happened. This value 1 2 3 4 changed, but this link did not change. And if you observe, this link also has repeated. So this is what I meant when I say, when you put this data slide test, when you put this data slide list, right, whatever is inside this element, in this parent element, that everything will get repeated. That's what we need to understand. Whatever you have inside these tags, everything will get repeated. Okay, so this is how the for loop will work. So I'll end this video for now, and let us take these below items in the next video. Till then, keep practicing. Thank you.